Hello my fellows, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today I wanted to share with you some of my Hoyas that are currently flowering or in the midst of flowering or have put out peduncles that are going to flower. Just really quickly before I get started on this video, I wanted to say a quick big thank you to all of you who sent me really lovely messages, comments, and feedback on my previous video. I really appreciate it, and yeah, if you haven't seen that already, it's basically my first year anniversary here on YouTube, and I did a chatty repot with me, just sharing my journey here on YouTube so far. So anyway, really great big thank you to all of you who watched that video and for all the lovely messages and support. So let's get started on today's video. I know that a lot of you are based in the Northern Hemisphere, and the idea that it is springtime here in Australia when you guys are going into autumn is a little bit of a mind boggle. But yeah, we are entering into spring here in Australia, or we are well through to spring now, and a couple of my Hoyas are blooming for me, and I thought that you guys might be interested to see which ones are blooming and what their blooms look like. So if you're interested to see what they are, then definitely keep on watching. Before we get started, if you're new around here, my name is Grace and I post plant videos every week. And if you're interested in planting content like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you get notified when next week's video is out. First one that I'm really excited to share with you is my Hoya Bella. If you watched my Hoya hanging mesh grid video on my channel, you would have seen that this guy was about to bloom, and it finally did. I think it bloomed maybe a couple days after that video went live. And what I'm showing you today is actually a week in. I'm surprised that it's actually still going strong. So the blooms on this Hoya seem to last for quite a while. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind if you are looking for Hoyas specifically for their blooms. These blooms are super cute. They are white in color. They've got these sort of star-shaped petals, I guess is what you might call it, or corona. And they've also got these little pink gummy looking insides. Again, I'm not entirely familiar with the technical terms of these Hoya blooms, but all I know is they're really adorable, and this one smells quite good too. This smells a little bit florally, a little bit like a very subtle rose scent. I actually really enjoy the scent of this. I can't say the same for some of the other Hoyas that I'll be showing you. They don't put out a strong smell in the daytime. They generally smell a little bit more fragrant in the evenings when it's sundown, and this is quite typical for most Hoya blooms from what I hear. And another thing I noticed as well is that this one is a prolific bloomer. I've seen other YouTubers also talk about this particular Hoya being an easy one to get to flower. So if I can show you, it's even got some other peduncles that are developing at the moment. So that's one right there, and that's another one right here. Huge fan of this. Super cute blooms and really pleasant scent. Next Hoya that I wanted to show you guys is my Hoya Calistophylla Kalimantan, and if you follow me on my Instagram, you would have seen the blooms on this already. When it popped, I was super excited and I kept posting stories. So that's what the foliage looks like, and this is what the blooms look like. At this stage, it has been maybe 3 to 5 days since it's bloomed, and this one here doesn't seem to be lasting as long as my Hoya Bella. As you can see, it's already start to close up, but I'll insert some photos of what the blooms look like when they just opened. I think at that stage it's my favorite because it really has this origami look to it, but it only lasts for maybe an hour or so before the petals start to fold back and starts to look like this. And if you leave it for a couple of days more, the petals will start to close again, and this is what you'll end up with. So that's kind of the life cycle of this Hoya's bloom. But I wanted to show you guys that it's also put out another peduncle up here, so it's very likely that another one will bloom for me. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on camera. It's really tiny at the moment, but yeah, I'm really excited to see that one bloom. But this one smells like a combination of something a little bit spicy or peppery, something a little bit powdery, and a little bit citrusy. I don't know how to explain it in a nutshell, but those are the kind of notes that I get when I sniff it. It sounds a bit odd, but it actually isn't too unpleasant. It's quite subtle, and I quite like it. So the flowers are starting to fall off. It's very fragile now, so I'm gonna put this down. 3 of them fell off. So I'm gonna put that down and not play around so much with that. Let's move on to the third one, which you will have already seen. That's my Hoya Heuschkeliana Verragata. This one here has so many peduncles. It's put out so many. I'm going to show you in a second. This one's already bloomed for me once before, as I mentioned in my top trailing Hoya video or my May favorites video. I'm not sure which one, but I'll link them in the description box below. But it's starting to bloom for me again. Here, it's starting to bloom again. There's another peduncle here. And in fact, at the top, you might be able to see there's another one forming. So, oh, and then another one back here as well. I don't do anything special with it. It does get a lot of light, so that could be one reason it's blooming so much. This bloom looks a little bit different to the other two. They don't stray too far from the foliage, and it doesn't have the star-shaped petals. But the scent on this is really strong. I find it to be quite overpowering. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. A lot of people say it smells like butterscotch or like caramel popcorn or something like that. But to me, it smells like something stale, like it's day old in some way. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one. So, you know, that's an unpopular opinion, because apparently quite a number of people enjoy the scent on this one, but it's just not for me. If you enjoyed this video so far, guys, please do me a favor and like this video. It really helps out my channel. And while you're at it, leave me a comment down below to let me know if any of your Hoyas have flowered before and which are your favorite scents. Next up, we have my Hoya Croniana that I did show in my top trailing Hoyas video as well, and it's actually grown quite a bit since that video. I've put it in my grow tent, and it's now directly under the grow lights, so it's expedited the growth on this one. And because it's in my grow tent as well, the aerial roots have just gone crazy in there. I'm not sure if you can tell, but those are some good looking aerial roots. It's put out this peduncle for me that's looking pretty healthy. And the thing about peduncles is that it's not guaranteed to bloom. I have a couple of my other Hoyas, like my Hoya linearis and my Hoya Mathilde, that's put out peduncles as well, and it looked like it was progressing well, but something happened. Either I underwatered it or overwatered it, I'm not quite sure, but the peduncles blasted off, and yeah, it didn't actually end up blooming. But this one here looks like it's actually progressing pretty well, so I'm going to be monitoring this one, and hopefully it'll end up blooming for me, and I can share with you guys what the blooms look like, what it smells like, and all that jazz. Lastly, we've got my Hoya Fungi Eye, which I haven't shown in my videos for a little while. It's actually grown quite a bit. As you can see, all of these up here are new growth, and they still feel a little bit soft and flimsy. They haven't matured yet. I think I'm gonna put this on a trellis because there's not a lot of support for this, and the leaves can get a little bit heavy, so it's just kind of really unstable at the moment. But I wanted to show you that it's also put out a peduncle. Not sure if that's gonna show up, but yeah, it's also put out a peduncle there. I'll keep you posted if it does end up flowering for me. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more planting content, feel free to check out these videos right here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay mellow, my fellows.